Welcome to the Humanities Team podcast with me, Steve Farrell. Humanities Team is an international spiritual movement whose purpose is to communicate and demonstrate the timeless truth that we are all one, with the divine and all life, caring for each other and the world we share, so that people's actions reflect this profound understanding within our generation. We believe that living this truth is essential to resolving the most chronic and acute world challenges and vital to creating a flourishing world of peace, harmony, and happiness. We offer transformative education programs in personal and spiritual development, and we host an annual event called Global Oneness Day. Similar to Earth Day, which galvanized the global environmental movement, Global Oneness Day has become a catalyst for spiritual activism and an integral part of the present-day global oneness movement, which represents a profound new paradigm in human culture. Humanities Team is the only global nonprofit organization working in transformational education. Since we are a nonprofit, there is no focus on growing profits or satisfying shareholders, and 100% of all revenue goes toward our work supporting conscious evolution, planetary awakening, and flourishing at every level of life. If you'd like to learn more about us or want to support our mission directly through donation or volunteering some of your time, please visit us online at humanitiesteam.org. And lastly, if you enjoyed this podcast, we'd be grateful if you'd leave us a review.
When we talk about oneness with the divine, of course, this is true for all of life, not just humanity. This has repercussions for how we see ourselves, others, and the earth that is our home. This means everyone and everything is sacred and should be treated as such. It also means we're responsible for the world around us because, in truth, it's part of our authentic self, encompassing the whole of the earth. Perhaps there's nothing more important than this, coming to see ourselves as a cell in the body of the divine, the earth, and stepping into a role where we're caring for the earth and the world that we live in. Before I introduce our special guest, I want to just bring in at this point my co-host, Anna-Marie Peterson, who's going to share a little bit and introduce the sphere that we're talking about today, the arts. Anna-Marie.
Wonderful. Thank you again, Steve. Yes, hello, everyone. It is great for me to be back again and to start this year on this creative note and to share the space with Rickie again after Steve said we met in person last year when she and Dr. Michael Beckwith received the Humanities Team Spiritual Leadership Award in Colorado. Let me love in a holy, holy way. I will never forget that wonderful evening, Rickie. The power of your song and the precious time we spent together a day or so before, it was all just so precious. So it's really great to be with you. Thank you for making the time to be with us. Yeah, so for those who do not know me, as Steve said, I am Anna-Marie Peterson. I have been involved with Humanities Team since 2005 as the country coordinator for South Africa, the land of Ubuntu, which is Africa's gift of oneness to the world, where we have done some exciting things over the years. And then I have had the privilege to be involved with many things in Humanities Team on a global level, such as the Oneness Declaration, Global Oneness Day, and in this instance as the co-coordinator for our Oneness in 12 Spheres of Life initiative with our worldwide coordinating director, Steve Farrell. I'm looking forward, like all of you, to listen, to participate, and to the inspiration of our gathering today. So thank you, Steve. So, and with this, would you like me to go straight into the description of the spheres, Steve?
That'd be perfect. Thank you, Anna-Marie.
Super. Righty, so as a means to setting the stage for our Oneness in 12 Spheres of Life series of calls for the year, and specifically for the sphere of arts that deals with the realm of creative expression through the endless variety of media, we want to be aware of the sacred, inextricable, interrelated, interconnected, and interdependent reality of life. We also want to be mindful that we are all artists in some way, and that art is also always present and at play in all of the other spheres, the whole of the wheel of co-creation and all of our human endeavors. The arts is the reflection of our gifts and desires, to inquire about and to observe all aspects of life. As Barbara Marx Hubbard puts it, the arts are meme makers and meme reflectors, mirrors through which we can see ourselves in new ways. As we engage with this sphere, we want to explore how the greatest purpose of art would be to express and reflect the absolute truth as awareness and self-awareness, and to encourage the further development of oneness consciousness. Although we are all artists in some way, some artists, like our guest today, stand out as harbingers of new ways of perceiving and thinking, and as the tellers of their story. The gifts that arts bring to the world are many. It reflects and promotes social change, pushes the boundaries and challenges the status quo. In this way, the arts unite and help us to grow and to create stronger, closer, healthier, and more vibrant communities. Where it has always been a powerful revolutionary tool, it now becomes an evolutionary tool. It is healing as it helps to restore traumatized individuals and communities. Through the arts, symbols of destruction are transformed into beacons of reconciliation, forgiveness, and hope. Art beautifies and energizes the space where we get together. It shapes, improves, and transforms communities and neighborhoods and other spaces where we meet and hold our ceremonies. It is a great source of prosperity and plays a wonderful, general unifying and healing role in society. Art has the potential to help us realize our deeper nature. In the creative seeds lie the source, the birth, and the death of the entire universe. See, the simple painting of a tree is similar to the vast unfolding of spirit in and as the cosmos. A speck of dust holds the same depth and enormity of magic, grace, and beauty as the master's painting, a poetic verse, or a symphony. The creation and appreciation of art cannot help but transform us if we are open and willing to engage in the broadening of our horizons and the striving to expand and integrate all aspects of life. In this journey towards wholeness that holds its own very important quality, regardless of whether or not our ultimate idealized destination is ever reached. Thank you very much, Steve. Over to you.
Oh, thank you, Anna Marie. That was beautiful. Thank you. What a great way to set the table, so to speak, for this important call. So please do get comfortable, everyone, as we begin our program. I'm now going to introduce our special guest. Rickie Byars is one of the 21st century's most revered singer-songwriters whose transcendent music opens the heart, touches the soul, and uplifts the spirit. Rickie's extensive music catalog is heard on the radio and on soundtracks for movies and television. Her songs of unconditional love and spiritual transformation are the highlight of consciousness-raising events throughout the world. She has performed in 5 sessions with His Holiness the Dalai Lama, at green festivals across North America, and at countless peace concerts that promote unity and the principles of nonviolence. In Culver City, California, Rickie is the music and arts director of the Agape International Spiritual Center, where she directs the 200-member Agape International Choir. Together with her husband, the Reverend Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith, founder of the Agape International Spiritual Center, their powerful partnership has resulted in a dynamic catalog of songs that enable transformational healing through the power of music. And welcome to our Oneness in 12 Spheres call, Rickie. It's great to have you with us.
It is magnificent to be here on this call. And wow, Anna Marie, what? Oh, her reading this morning was just so beautiful about art.
Thank you.
And it's an amazing gift that you have to put it together. I mean, it really did make sense. It was like a song.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Rickie. I appreciate that.
That is so true. Anna Marie has a beautiful gift. She starts these calls with the focus on the particular sphere, and it's beautiful, isn't it? There's just wisdom. It's poetic. It's just lovely. And so, Anna Marie, yeah, thank you. Want to honor you for sure.
Well, that was amazing. I was like, after that, what are we going to talk about?
And Rickie has such a crazy schedule with her husband, the Reverend Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith, and she was sharing. She's has her mom here with her this morning who she's caring for, and she worked this in. So, God, we just want to honor you and thank you so much again, Rickie, for being here for this hour with us. God, we just appreciate you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. My mother, by the way, is pretty remarkable. My mother turned 90 years old on last Friday, and we celebrated her birthday in concert. She was in concert at 90 years old, and she had about 400 people that showed up for her concert. And she, at one point, she just picked up her cane because she doesn't use it; she just carries it, and she danced across the stage. It was amazing.
I can just see her. Well, congratulations to her. Rickie.
Now, my mom's a bomb. Next time you should have her on the call because she really has an extraordinary wisdom. She's a brilliant woman, and and just honoring our elders as we step into those same positions. It's just an amazing thing. I'm so glad that she's lived long enough so that I could see what it looks like to become an older person. Because we never had older people in our family. Our family members always died young, and so my mother and my uncle and my aunt, the three of them, are the example of growing older in my family for the first time. And this first time we've seen it. We didn't have grandparents, and it was just amazing, to watch the process and to watch that rite of passage. So. Yes, my mother is with me for about 3 more weeks, and she's under my care now. Uh-oh.
Well, what a blessing. Wow, what a blessing. And, gosh, I'm just thinking, Rickie, as you're talking, I would love, if this makes sense, your personal story. You kind of started it here, by talking about your mom and the DNA here in the family. But, your story where, you grew up in this household and then you found your way to Reverend Michael and Agape and all of this spiritual leadership that is your life now. Could I ask you to maybe just briefly share that personal story?
Just briefly share my whole life? Hey, Steve, that's a good way to start. Well, I was born in Charlotte, North Carolina, and in a family of 7, and then my mother adopted her sister's 3 kids when her sister passed away. So there were about 10 of us growing up in the same household. But my journey was totally different. I guess everybody has a different journey, but mine was one where at a very young age, I removed myself from my family on purpose, and I went to live with somebody else at 4 years old, around 4. And I was there until I was 9 years old. I went to Atlanta, Georgia, and I was there for some very formative years, and I had a very hard teacher there, who was my aunt, who was a perfectionist. I didn't know anything about what I was doing. I just knew I was taken by her promises of fame and fortune. So I was like, yeah, I'll go. She said, you'll have your own room, you'll have a ride in my big car, you'll go to the school that I teach at, you'll just have the best things. And I was just hoping that nobody else said they wanted to go, because I sure wanted to go. And nobody did want to go. But I was the one that was willing to go. And the good thing about that journey for me is that it taught me how to go. It taught me how to venture, how to go on a discovery, and that's an important aspect of an artist. An artist, you don't have to go anywhere. You can express from right where you are. But in my journey, it was important that I was able to go beyond my family, beyond the boundary of Charlotte, and to be able to return too. So it was an amazing journey that really sparked an extraordinary joy in my being, because it was such a sad adventure that what kept me going in those years was that I remembered my mother's love, and I remembered my family, and I remembered the joy of our collective and how precious that was. And so even now, in the things that I do at Agape everywhere, I'm always restored in the love of my family and how precious it is, and that there are some things that money just can't buy, that fame can't buy, that millions and millions of viewers and Facebook friends can't buy. And that is an inner peace and an acceptance of one's that we are loved, and my family represented that for me, and actually they still do. And at this speaking, we're all alive. So anyway, my journey took me to Atlanta, and then back to Charlotte, and back to Atlanta, and then on to New York, where I became an artist, a serious artist. I was always an artist. I was born an artist, but I really refined a lot of things that the world says are important in corporate art, and I had a good time learning those things. And then I went on to L.A. and was very unhappy because I'd learned all that stuff and I wasn't making no money. I wasn't famous and I couldn't get a record deal. I was really, really not happy. And I was working all these new thought principles that I had learned, and really I just was finding myself hitting a wall. They said if you could believe it, you could achieve it. Well, I wasn't achieving it, and I believed it. It was really interesting, and my journey finally took me to Agape, and because like Michael, who was prophesied in my life, they didn't call his name, but they said that I would meet this man with a beard and a mustache, and we would write this beautiful music, and we would form this partnership, this union, and we would write this music that would go around the world and heal people's hearts. And so when this man came to New York with a beard and a mustache, of course I thought he was that guy. Well, he wasn't. He was the father of my children, though, but that was the man that I was going to marry, because I'm thinking this is the guy. But that wasn't the guy. But he did get me to L.A., and then when I got to L.A., Los Angeles, I began to work here, and this man was a musician, and we did write songs, but they weren't those songs. They weren't the healing. It was not the healing music. And the healing music was to happen about 3 years after I arrived in Los Angeles, and because I recorded one of those songs and it just happened, you know how it happens in life, it just happened that this tape was in Michael's hand, and he heard this voice, and the person that brought it to him said, well, she's not coming to your church, but she ain't coming. But when Michael heard the voice, he says, no, she'll come. She's got it. I've heard this voice in my dreams. And so he called me. We had an interesting conversation, but I said yes, and that I would sing at his church. And I came to Agape, and that's how I got there, is that I was hired as a musician to come. And I'm so thankful that my journey brought me there, because when Michael began to talk, my reason, the gift, my reason, my art, everything made sense, because I was so disappointed in the world and in and the progress that it didn't seem that I was making, that I was just real sad inside. And he began to talk about all the things that I believed, and he was right. And I cried and listened, and eventually he invited me to come back again. And then one day I had to come when he wasn't inviting me to sing or hiring me to sing. I went because my soul yearned to be there to hear this message. And but what I didn't know was that I was bringing the music, and that was the part that I was to play in the formation of Agape.
Oh, wow. Rickie, golly. Wow. What a unbelievable personal story, and thank you for sharing that. And just as you were sharing it, just what is true for all of us, and certainly what you could hear in your life story, is how guided you were, even that 4 to 9 year old experience, which I'm sure helped create this self that all of these things could emerge from. But wow, just so guided that it flowed in very naturally into what you and Michael have created today, and it's amazing, really.
Yes.
Well, by the way, let me thank the listeners. There are comments coming in. Thank you. We'll get to some of these here in just a moment. Rickie, and of course this is a Oneness and 12 Spheres call, and our focus is the arts. And of course, you're such an amazing artist, period. But also artist, that that brings in these messages of our oneness with the divine and each other. Anna Marie had that beautiful little, she was singing a little bit from Holy, Holy Way, which is such a beautiful song. Can you talk a little about that, just the importance of this work, where you're bringing this expression of oneness to all over the world in your music with your husband and Agape?
Well, it seems to be important. I know it's important for me. What it becomes for people is always it's amazing for me to watch. It's just like I don't have words for it because I didn't know that it was going to look like this. Like I didn't know that this is the way the music that I would compose or co-write or write by myself would go into the world. The pattern that I got was that it would, it would be, well, he's dead now, but it would be the Ed Sullivan Show. It would be like, the Tonight Show or Jay Leno. Well, he's off. But whoever's on now, that it would be like that. It would be like a Fame, like a John Lennon kind of thing, or Diana Ross or the Supremes. Those are the iconic kind of figures that loomed large and that one would pattern themselves after when I was coming up as a kid. So, I had no idea that mine would be totally different. My journey would be different. And it was like, I got to say this, I remember I was doing this event up in San Francisco once, and Steve McCarthy of the Steve Miller Band was there, and he was the star of that night. He was, but I was part of the program, and I actually followed him. He did Fly Like an Eagle and the songs that he wrote, and then I followed him. And so, and I'm looking at the whole setup of everything, and then, and I didn't know a lot of his songs, but I knew Fly Like an Eagle and something else. So anyway, but he was an amazing artist and a beautiful man. And so afterwards, I took the stage, and I began to sing I Release. All I said was, I release. And the whole audience was on their feet, and they were like, and I let go. Everybody knew the words. I did Holy, Holy Way. Everybody knew it. I did We Let It Be. Everybody knew it. And so when I was done with my part, I was in the hallway, and Steve McCarthy comes up to me. He says, who are you? And where have I been that I didn't even know that you existed? Because the way it went into the world was different. I didn't know that I would have the experience of a pure grassroots artist that would become dear in the hearts of people because their friends gave them a CD, or they went to a church and they just heard it, but they didn't really hear it on the radio. Like this would be one of the larger ways that that my music would go, would be through calls like this. But that it wouldn't be the kind of fame and fortune that you see, or fame. I mean, because my fortune, I consider to be enormous, but it's not measured in a worldly way. So, so the way it goes, it's the way it goes. And Holy, Holy Way, I mean, a song like that, which was revealed in no time. I mean, it took no time for the song to reveal itself. And, it was just, I had done, I believe with that particular song, I was on a meditation retreat. And anybody who knows me knows I hate meditation retreats.
You were just on one.
But it's the closest thing I can get to a vacation. So I've learned to love them, but the reason, well, I won't answer that. Somebody might ask the question, why don't you like meditation retreats? It's not that I don't like, I like getting away. I like the retreat part of it, but the meditation part I don't. It's like, but now I've discovered the way to be all right with the fact that my mind is an active mind, and to just love it and to behold it instead of trying to shut it off or shut it down. I just behold it, and because it's always bringing me music. And so I was at this meditation retreat, and I was doing this Kundalini yoga class, and she was playing some Krishna Das, and I was like, I wasn't in love with, I wasn't real fond of Kundalini yoga, but I love the music. You know, I love the music, but I like Kundalini yoga, but it's just I don't do it right. It seems like when they start doing that Satnam thing, my head goes, my neck side goes like, what? So anyway, why are we doing our necks like that? You know, it's like, it's great if you are yogi in it, but, you know, our teacher had us doing this thing, and it was just uncomfortable, and then I hear my complaint, and I know I'm not supposed to be doing that. I'm supposed to be doing what she's asking me to do. But in the midst of all of that, Krishna Das, and he was singing something in what is the language?
Hindu.
Hindu, yeah. And he was, you know, he was doing the names of God, you know, Sanskrit names of God, and I was just listening to it. So beautiful, and that's what I left with, was that. And then I just was walking and humming and just doing what I do, and the next thing I know, it's like, oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. And I wanted it to answer, la-da-da-da-da-da, in a holy, holy way. Let me love in a holy, holy way. And I was like, wow, that's really great. That's nice. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Like not just what we think holy is, but completely holy. Like that relates to the earth, that relates to the cosmos, that relates to everything. Like not just this one little window of existence, but let me love holy, and to get the power of that. And so the song was born, and they keep getting born, and they keep appearing, and I keep catching them because I'm interested in them, and I just love, you know, the way the Spirit works in me. I'm sorry my answers are so long.
Oh, are you kidding?
Beautiful.
Rickie, oh my goodness, we're all just glued to every word. Their comments coming in, Monica shared, just love your candor, and just Rickie, you know, your candor and authenticity, even talking about meditation. I think there are probably so many people that relate to what you're sharing, you know, of just, it doesn't get quiet. There's not necessarily a vision unless there is, such as what you described. But you know, I think just being real the way you are and talking about these things that, you know, haven't always worked the way people say they might work, you know, but how it worked for you. And like how you say, where you just hold it and love it, you know, because that's what it is for you. I mean, it's so, to me, that's really what, you know, spirituality and oneness is we're not trying to push things away. We're owning what's ours and loving it and loving others and just feeling the love of the divine. And you just are such a beautiful expression of that.
Oh, thank you. And the way you just put that is what I had to finally get to. I haven't always been Yoda. I've been more like Yogi Bear, but it's like not Yogi Bear. But it's like I believe that the what gets in the way many times is our judgment of who we are and where we are in our on our journey, and the comparative thing that we do. It's like, well, I want to be like that, or I want to do a lotus that looks like that. I want my legs to really fold back like that, you know. And I don't think everybody's like that. But I know I was. I was wanting to be, and I think that, you know, you talked about those years from 4 to 9, those formative years where you were with a guide or a teacher who was my aunt in that case, who had an interesting standard of perfection that you needed to do it like this or it wasn't worthy. Like you had to do it this way, or you have to be the best, or you have to be straight A's. You can't get a B. No. It's got to be a straight A card. You have to do this, and you have to clean like this. And everything was like very, very controlled and a high bar. And so that kind of rearing of a child can create a certain out of balance. You know, it kind of throws you off. You don't realize you're off. You're just neurotic. You don't realize it, you know. But my mother's love healed me, though. My mother's love healed it, but healed me of so much nervousness and franticness, and there was just a lot. And when I got back to my family, my mom's going like, "Oh my God, what's happened to my what has she been through?" And that she didn't realize it. And then she saw what the situation had been and what I was in, but she knew. I mean, all of them, all my brothers and sisters, everybody thought that I was in a better place. That, well, you know, she's in a house that, you know, she doesn't have to worry whether she's going to be evicted or whether there's enough food, because those were the days that my brothers and sisters were living through. While I was living high on the hog, there was something else that was happening, you know, in terms of what was developing. And it wasn't bad. It was just strange, you know. It was just strange. It was different. But it was a great test because my joy kept me alive. And it was just like no matter what was coming at me, it was like my joy was way more powerful. Like they could not take that joy. They couldn't put the joy out. And there's a song that says, "This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me, and the world can't take it away." Well, I was that kind of kid. It's like they couldn't take it out because I was born with that in me. It's so deep. So having this journey that did not deliver what I thought would bring joy was the greatest. It was the greatest medicine. It's like, because that's not what I came to do. I mean, I came to discover something about myself, something about the spirit, something about my purpose. What is it that I came to bring with all of this gifts, with all of that stuff, with all of the years of abusive child rearing and also cuddling and, you know, all the other stuff that I got. It's just like, what does that become in a person? It becomes art. It becomes music. It becomes sound that can heal or make somebody cry. And you can't make somebody cry unless you've cried, unless you've carried it. You know, there's something that it just forms into something that's really divine, all of that. And I'm just really, really thankful.
Oh, golly, your story is so healing, Rickie. You know, like you say, that people can't cry with you unless they can feel that you've cried. And so just your whole journey is you're expressing how healing it was for you. But I think maybe this is why your music is so healing for others, for exactly this reason, is people can feel that whole journey, including this place that you are at now, where you do feel the love of the divine and you radiate it. And boy, when you sing Holy, Holy Way and your other songs, oh my God, the audience just goes wild.
And I love it.
We do too. And let me bring in here my co-host Anna Marie Peters, because I know she's got things she wants to share, and also, as we mentioned, she's down in South Africa, and Ubuntu, of course, has these beautiful expressions of the arts. So, Anna Marie.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you, Rickie. I'm sitting here with a big smile on my face. I'm feeling so warm, and I feel a connectedness that is so beautiful, just like being right there with you in person. It's so wonderful. Thank you so much. What a way to start the year, with your upbeat and your honest and your vibrant spirit. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
Rickie, thank you. So you spoke about grassroots just now, and this is really what I would like to touch on. Steve mentioned about the Ubuntu that is part of the culture, the African culture. We have seen, people say a lot about the unifying quality of arts, but we all know arts also has a way of alienating and offending people. Charlie Hebdo, the whole Paris thing is but one example. And as we shared just now, being from South Africa and Africa, this is the land of Ubuntu. When you come to Africa, when you think about South Africa and Africa, people inevitably hear the sound of the drum, of the voice, and the poet and the praise singer. We have praise singers over here. It's amazing to listen to them. Storytellers. And we can feel the movement of Africa and of the dance and so on. Now, in my research of Ubuntu, and in particular around how how Ubuntu and Oneness is present and at play in the art, music, and in other forms, I came across a very interesting thing about African music, and that is that they speak about the regular rhythm or a pattern that is contradicted by a conflicting or challenging and irrational pattern. We see that the main beat is always part of a secondary beat, and we see that there's a production, there's a cross-rhythmic texture that comes through the interplay between all of this. So there's a conflict that brings the harmony. And, what I'm really trying to get here is the important role of contradiction and challenge and irrational challenge as a means to achieve our harmony. I think this is really what you've been sharing as well through your life. And we see how indigenous cultures have a natural gravitation towards unity consciousness, which is achieved through what we all call appreciation for the other or for the conflict. We can see that the other, the one that we face that's unknown to us, that causes conflict. And, in general, I think a great number of people do not take lightly to offbeat sounds in music and in art. But this is what I believe the world is gravitating towards as we continue to meet and engage with other cultures. So consciousness really happens where there is contrast. And I wanted to share this with you and hear what your remarks are, maybe, if you wanted to add anything about this.
Well, sure, I really do. When you were talking about all of it, I thought of my daughter. My daughter is an amazing artist. And her partner, Dudley Perkins, her name is Georgia Ann Muldrow. And Georgia and Dudley are known for their music that speaks out. She speaks for a stronger love. Like she's got one song that says, she says, I heard them. She says, I want to bring, this is a cute song. She says, I want to bring my best love to you. She says, I want to bring my best love. She's talking to her partner. She says, but I see they're bombing Syria, and it put me in a mood. I see they're bombing, and they're bombing Africa. It put me in a mood. You and me, we can make a difference if we try now. Just you and me. We can make a difference if we try now. And then she goes on, just you and me. Beautiful. And she says, I want to bring my best love, and I want to be with you right now, but I can't because all this stuff got me messed up, And then at the end, she says, she goes like, she says, she goes on a fundraiser. She says, give me $20, boo. We'll build a well in Africa. I need you. That's the kind of relationship she's going for. She says, give me $50. We'll build a well in India. Build this, and then she just starts talking about all the ways with just a little bit of help that we can help everybody else. But it's her message, and their messages sometimes I have to get ready for it because I'm not ready to hear I'm not ready to hear that this is not going to work. I'm not ready to hear the world from their point of view. I want to hear that, come on, people now, smile on your brother, everybody get together, try to love one another. And she's like, hey, they're hunting us down out here. They're killing us. And why do they hate us so much? Something's got to change in this world because we're being hunted down it's my baby's been killed, and she's got this beautiful song. I was like, wow, this girl is amazing. Like what she goes for is that is the cutting edge. That is the cutting edge. That used to be what jazz was. It was the cutting edge. It's like, we're something totally different. We're going for something totally different. But it's like,
when it's off beat is when we listen, isn't that so? When there's that contrast there. I mean, certainly love stirs us all. When we speak about unity and consciousness, and when you speak about the holy way, we are all drawn to that. But there are others out there who don't, who are artists who don't speak like that. They come from another place. But when we say that love is ever present, we have to look below the surface, and to see that somewhere below there's a beautiful message that calls us to unity, and what it forces us, to do that.
Well, it's a process. It's like you have to really go beyond what's familiar to you, and to keep reaching. And what I have found with that's why I'm talking about Georgia the younger people is that I know when I was younger, I listened to a whole lot more. I learned a lot of new things all the time. I was listening to all the things. And then finally, when we come into our own sound, when it's almost like there's a process where you're born into different sounds. You have your sound inside, but you're born into a community of sound. And then you live in these sounds that are familiar, and then you learn what's familiar. You learn how to work with it, how to dance on it, how it goes. And then you're dancing to these sounds that existed for you. You didn't create them. You're just part of it. Yeah. But if you continue, you continue until then you begin to bring the sound that you bring. It's like, okay, with all of that stuff and all of the rhythms and all this stuff, it's like, well, who are you with this? And then you begin to create something, but you're still listening when you're younger. You're still listening. But then when you get very defined like I did in a sound, all of a sudden something else is writing through you. And it's not just the sounds of Motown or Liverpool. It's not it's something else. And it's way more, for my expression, it was way more simple. It was almost like I went from R&B to jazz to pop to soul and jazz pop and all those things. And then all of a sudden I began to listen to the raindrops. Wow. I began to listen to the birds, And then it's like, oh, let me love them. It was way simpler than some other things that I've written. And my music continues to get more and more simple. So maybe by the time I'm 90, it'll just be like, ah.
Oh, my goodness. But it's a process,
but if
as you say.
If that is really invested with all of it, that's all you need to say. It's like, and it's almost like listening to the Honorable Nelson Mandela, just his voice, just to hear him talk. Mm-hmm. You knew that regardless of what he was able to achieve there, that there was an intention, that there was something that he believed, there was something that he carried that was way deeper than what showed in the appearance. There was a love.
That's so true. Wow.
That there was a love, that there's a love, there was something that we get to continue, that we get to continue. Like when you're talking about Ubuntu, it's amazing.
Let me bring in
it certainly is.
Yeah, this candor and authenticity, and just really living our life as who we are, because there's only one of us, and that's your story as I hear it, Rickie. Is there's only one of me, and I'm going to just live it. I'm going to live it honestly. And
that's the best we
for
can
all
do.
of us. We're just one expression of the divine, each of us, and just to live it fully and honestly. It's so beautiful hearing your story. There are more comments coming in like that. Let me just read a couple real quick so we bring in listeners. Zoya and Turlock said, Happy New Year, everyone, and into the rest of this compassionate and beautiful community of yours, Humanities team. We truly are all one. I love you and hope you will bring forth even more love and compassion to the world. We are so privileged and blessed to be part of it. I love hearing about Rickie's mom, so inspiring. And then Francis, who might be a part of your church in Los Angeles, says, your spiritual songs uplift me every Sunday. You have a loving and joyful spirit which flows through your music. It's amazing how the words in the songs interact with the message Reverend Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith brings. Thank you very much.
Well, they could be on the live stream, too.
Yes, live stream. So let's bring that in. It's is it Agape Live? There's a link. Some of us in Humanities team check that out, some every Sunday and others periodically. We can all tune in to the programs at Agape for free, and I think it's Agape International Live or Agape Live. But if you go to
AgapeLive.com, AgapeLive.com.
Okay, so yes, check that out, AgapeLive.com, and you get to see both Reverend Michael and Rickie and the choir and the whole program. It's amazing. Let me just bring this in, Rickie, as you're traveling around the world, and we were talking before we came onto the program here together just about the crazy schedule where you and Reverend Michael travel all the time doing programs and talks and performances and things. What's one of the things that inspires you most about the people that you meet, and the messages they carry.
The messages of the people the people who are speaking that we're doing programs with, or the people who come to see us.
The listeners, yeah, the people that come to see you.
What inspires me about people is that they love what we do. I love that they love us. I love that they show up, and I love that they're willing to sing, and because sometimes we get in our head that what we need to know is we can learn from a book. And I know we can get a lot of information from a book. It's very true, but I believe that because of the way technology and just the world has turned, especially in the West. This may not be so in South Africa, and it's not so in South Africa, but many of us find ourselves away from the song. We're not connected to the music. We're not connected to, we might listen to music, but we might not sing. We might watch Dancing in the Stars, but we might not dance. You might watch a great basketball game, but you might not play. So, life becomes like a spectator sport instead of we're not participating in it. And because I sing all the time, and I encourage people to sing, and I encourage children to sing and to keep their song free in them, and it's just like you can heal your body singing and dancing and walking and being in nature. And a lot of people do these things, but a lot of people don't. They think that you can go to a conference and sit and listen to somebody talk and be maybe inspired, and that's really nice. And that is nice. That's actually very wonderful to be able to go and hear a speaker and feel something inside. But if you don't do something with it, if you don't take it inside, and if you don't move so that it gets in you, you don't integrate it as well as you can, and on every day. And it just makes us better when we can sing. People who sing live longer.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I was also touched by the idea of participation and willingness when it comes to the arts and music and so on, and we see that in Africa as well. I read a very interesting thing today where it says that unlike the belief that dancers perform to go into trance, it's more accurate to say that dance is the vehicle to come out of trance and the illusion of separateness. And that is awesome when you look at it like that, because we never do. I mean, certainly, as you say, you can sit in trance, and we do, and that is beautiful, as you say. But how wonderful when you're willing to participate, you come out of trance and you come out of the illusion of separateness. I think that is simply awesome. So it's when we engage with God and with the other, that is when we really know God, and that is so beautiful.
Yes, that's right. That's right, Anna Marie.
Yes, boy, and that, of course, is the theme of Humanity's Team, too, is really embodying oneness, because we can play a passive role if we want, but as you share, Rickie, there's not much that moves or happens then within us where we're just listening and we're not really embodying. And that's the invitation, isn't it, to really embody spirit and just to be the best person and that we can be, and to follow these inspirations that come to us, and to take action and to be in community. And there's so many beautiful things that flow once we embody oneness. There's just a whole escalator that we come to. And within Humanity's Team, we've tried to create many programs. This one is about embodying oneness, but we also go into taking action. This Oneness in 12 Spheres program is about putting it on the ground, taking action. Right. And, of course, that's a big part of your life, too, Rickie. We haven't been able to, we won't have the time to talk about this now, but you talk about bringing water to dry land, right, where you're helping these nonprofits that really are doing great work and need support. And, of course, you're supporting them in many ways, aren't you?
Well, yes, I do, but that water in a dry land was my beginnings. That's everything that I'm doing now is like bringing water to a dry land. But that particular beginning was my idea that I had to do something. It's like, well, let me just do help to bring wells and help build water sources in Africa. That was where I started. Now my water in a dry land that's almost like a metaphor to it's like, how can I go to the places where people don't go? And folks, a lot of people go to Africa. A lot of people go to Africa to bring good and to help and to inspire, or to build wells, or to bring medicines or whatever. But a lot of people will ride right by Inglewood or Watts or Compton. These are neighborhoods right here in Los Angeles, and just really have no action as to how to serve the people that are right down the street and around the corner. And so after going all the way to Nepal and doing work there with the Free the Slaves Foundation at the time, now that director, that one of the co-founders of that, has founded another organization called Voices for Freedom. And these are modern-day abolitionists. They're serious about it, but with a lot of joy. Serious with a lot of joy. And they go to places all over the world to help, to assist people in freeing themselves. And so, and they've changed the whole way of referring to folks who are enslaved. You'll hear human trafficking now. You hear sex trafficking. All that language was them pushing the envelope and going different places and getting it in the news and just getting the stories out about how people are being misused and abused and enslaved all over the world. So I was invited to go to Nepal to help them with their work there. And while I was there, I shot a music video, and it was an amazing experience. And on the way back, we were talking about building villages and who wanted to build a village and what it would take to build a village in this place and that place, and these places were in Nepal. And I realized that I wanted to build a village, but my village was right down the street on Skid Row. That I needed to go and work with the people who looked like me, that were like the people I grew up with, but just hit a wall. And maybe there was some life, there's some conversation that I just had not been downtown right here in my own backyard. So I'm going around the world, but in my backyard there was suffering, and I was riding past it, and that's where the water really. That's where I began to really build a different kind of well, and it really feeds me today. I just love my interactions. I love creating with people from downtown. I love just discovering who I am over and over again. It's just an amazing thing. My life has opened up with wanting to feel that all this music, all these songs, like how does it engage in the lives of people who are struggling to understand what's going on. And so going down there to sing and to bring people to sing, to build things together, to build programs together has been, we're building school together. It's just amazing. It's just like, but it was just a question of how can I serve?
Yeah. Oh, my God. So beautiful. And, of course, I think I mentioned here in the introduction, we gave Rickie and her husband, Reverend Michael, our Humanities Team Spiritual Leadership Award in 2015 in May. And we were with them in Colorado for a couple of days, and it was just such an incredible experience for us because you all are just amazing people, Rickie, you and Reverend Michael. It was such a privilege for us to give you our Spiritual Leadership Award last year. And now, as you're talking about embodying oneness and how that works for you, and and where you bring that back to your community there in Southern California, and we're all called to. I think probably those of us on this call are called to embody oneness, and that manifests then in many ways. There's religious violence, as we know now. So just standing up and talking about the God of love and peace and joy that we know, that's the one God, the one divine that we're all a part of, and becoming involved in service projects as you do. And you're doing these things and more, but there's so many ways that we can embody oneness in beautiful ways, and of course it feeds us and stirs something in us, and you described that so beautifully, but then it also allows us to really contribute to the collective in beautiful ways, and you're describing that wonderfully also. We're right to the end of our call. I shared this was going to go way too fast. Let's just, 30 seconds or a minute. Anna Marie, just any 30 seconds or a minute, anything you want to leave, and then Rickie, 30 seconds or a minute with whatever is important you'd like to leave with listeners, including the web addresses that they can go to follow your work.
Okay, Anna Marie
well,
first.
For me, just a wonderful, wonderful privilege to be on this call and to start off the year on this beautiful note. Thank you so much, Rickie.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you. And what I wanted to say was I didn't really answer your question when you said what is it that I like about the people when we go places. What I like about the people, this is what I like about the people, is that the people when they ask a question that says, what are you doing? What is your response to the violence that's going on? When they ask those kinds of questions, I love it. Because we get to own up. We get to really look at what we're doing in our life too. Because you can ask very cosmic questions that talk about time and space and quarks and all kinds of stuff. But it's like when a person says, what is your answer to the violence? What are you doing? What does Agape do to serve? How do you show up for hunger? How do you show up? It's like I love those kinds of questions because, and then sometimes Michael's like, Rickie, talk to him. Say, I'm glad you gave me the microphone. I got something to say because I can sing, but I can serve. And my singing, finally, but my greatest gift is to remember that my singing and my music does serve, that it does serve. So whatever it is that you do, that you're loving to do, that brings good to the world, keep doing it because your doing that is a service in and of itself.
If you'd like to receive all of our new podcast episodes, please click on the subscribe button. To find out more about Humanities Team Transformational Education Programs and about how you can help support our mission, please visit us online at humanitiesteam.org, where you can also sign up for our email list so we can let you know about our free online events and other news about what we're up to each week. And again, if you enjoyed this podcast, please leave us a review. Thank you.